Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Qdabra webinar. My name is Jimmy Risch and I'll be your host for today. And today we are, this is part of our continuing series on our new app FormsViewer, and we will tell you some of the new features that we've been working on. So, state of InfoPath. This is something that we talk about a lot. As many of you probably know, InfoPath was officially deprecated in 2013. Microsoft said they won't be releasing any new versions of it. As per usual, that includes extended support until 2023, so Microsoft will be providing bug fixes and things of that nature until 2023. And it has recently been announced that InfoPath Forms Services, the service that provides the browser forms in SharePoint, will be included in the next version of SharePoint 2016. This wasn't something they had initially said they would do, but this was, as I said, recently announced. For a while, Microsoft had been announcing a few new Forms platforms that they were going to be releasing. One of them was Forms on SharePoint lists, had been announced, I believe it was last year or the year before. That has appears to be stopped in development. They are not planning to release that anytime soon, if ever. So at the moment, InfoPath remains Microsoft's primary Forms platform at the moment. And some new news for this month as well. Microsoft has released a standalone installer for InfoPath for Office 365 Pro Plus members. So you can go to the download page for that. Just search for InfoPath 23 for Pro Plus subscription, and you can get InfoPath as long as you've got a subscription. That's $12 a month per user. So it's pretty good value. Of course, that $12 a month covers everything in the Office 365 solutions such as SharePoint, Word, Excel, etc. So this is great news, since InfoPath used to be only available as part of Office Premium, and now you can get it for a relatively reasonable price. So what's next for InfoPath and electronic forms in general? As I mentioned, InfoPath Forms Services support is guaranteed until 2016. At this point, we don't know what's going to happen after that. They may continue providing it in a future SharePoint version. They may not. So that's a bit up in the air. Outside of Microsoft, there exist a number of electronic form solutions, some of which will work with InfoPath Forms, such as Formotus and another whose name escapes me. There are things like Nintex. We've provided a full list of everything that's available on our Forms Quo website, so you can go there for a pretty detailed analysis of cost, features, and things like that. And as many of you probably know by now, we have been developing a new Forms platform called FormsViewer, which is a browser-based platform for viewing and filling out InfoPath forms, and that's what I'm going to be showing you throughout this demo today. So we've taken it upon ourselves to sort of take the baton from Microsoft and sort of carry the InfoPath story forward, so that you can continue to take advantage of your investment in InfoPath forms and continue to make use of them for the near future. So a little bit of a rundown of FormsViewer for those of you who are new who haven't heard of it before or are not that familiar with it. Currently it works on SharePoint 2013, and that includes SharePoint Online. It's installed as an app there. It works with forms created in InfoPath Designer. You don't have to recreate your forms, which is great news. It does not require the SharePoint sandbox, so you don't get the performance drawbacks that are associated with the sandbox. And it has minimal postbacks. And what I mean by that is, for those of you who have used browser forms in SharePoint a lot, you've probably seen that it often shows this pop-up saying sending data to the server. And that's what the forms will often do anytime they need to do some sort of complex processing or things like that. What we've done is implement as much as possible of the functionality within the code that runs in your browser. So the FormsViewer app communicates with the server as little as possible to ensure a smooth and speedy experience. And another bonus is that FormsViewer includes features that are not built into InfoPath by default. What I'm referring to here is our qRules library, which I'll go into a little more detail. And it also provides things like pop-up message boxes, which are not supported in browser forms, and we hope to continue adding special features to the app as things progress. Now, qRules, I imagine a lot of the people watching this video are familiar with. qRules is something that we've had around for a while. It's a library that you basically inject into your InfoPath forms and give them functionality that's not provided by InfoPath by default. It's basically a bit of code, generalized code that you can take advantage of just by using ordinary rules within your form. You don't have to write any code yourself. So what we've been doing is figuring out which are the most useful and important commands in qRules, and basically implementing them from scratch here in our FormsViewer app. And we've made a lot of progress with this. As you can see here, we've got about, I think, 23 commands available out of, I think there are about 150 in the main version of qRules. And we'll be continuing to add new commands as things progress. Just to cover a few of the most important ones, you get insert, which allows you to insert multiple rows into repeating sections just by using a rule. You can use submit to DBXL to get some more enhanced functionality if you're submitting forms to DBXL. Submit to SharePoint list and refresh SharePoint list items allows you to submit your form data to SharePoint lists rather than a library, and sort of have the data spread out that way. Let's see, swap DOM with document. I don't know if most people using qRules are that familiar with this, but it's rather useful in allowing you to load a DBXL document into your form without opening it directly from DBXL. This is what allows us to open DBXL documents in browser forms and now in FormsViewer as well. And we're going to be showing some of these commands in the forms that I'm demoing in this webinar today. So let's move over to the demo. Okay. So what we've got here, you can see this is our FormsViewer app running here in SharePoint, and I'm going to go ahead and open up an expense report form. And here this is, again, opening up in FormsViewer. Okay. We can see the controls are all laid out relatively nicely here. We've got date pickers. So I'll just select today's date as the report date. Select a start date and an end date. And let's say I'm traveling to Osaka. We've got some tabs up here for switching between views. FormsViewer supports conditional formatting and things like that. So let's see, I'll put in train tickets. That goes under transportation. It's about $8 round trip from where I am. And I'll add another row for cafe. That'll be about $10. Okay, and you can see we've got default value calculations going in here, and as I fill in the field values, the details section down here is getting filled in as well. So you get most of the functionality that's available in InfoPath Forms, and we're continuing to add new functionality all the time. So now that I've filled out my form, I'm going to hit submit. And what this is going to do is submit the XML off to DBXL and also submit some of the main values from the form and line items to a list using submit to SharePoint list. So this is using two of the commands that I mentioned earlier, submit to SharePoint list and submit to DBXL. So let's just look here. Expense reports is a list here in SharePoint, and as we can see here, I have a new item just newly submitted with travel to Osaka and the dates I entered. And here in expense items, we've got a number of items, two of which were submitted a few seconds ago. We can see we've got a lookup column referring to the parent item, and basically it has the information that I entered. So that's working rather nicely. Now I'm going to go back to my list of templates, and what we've got here is a dashboard form. Which I'm also going to open up in FormsViewer. Okay, so this is basically just a simple form that's querying all the documents, all the submitted expense reports from DBXL. FormsViewer supports SOAP web connections, so pretty much anything you need to query from DBXL or other web services that use SOAP, you can take advantage of that. And we can see here that we've got 4 documents. Some of them were submitted earlier, and it has this one right here, which is the one I just submitted. So I'll open that up. Okay, and we can see here that it has loaded up the form. It's got the stuff that I entered in here. I can switch between the tabs again. And so this goes back to some of the qRules commands I mentioned earlier. There's a command called getInputParameter, which basically allows the form to retrieve a value from the URL that was used to open the form. So the way I designed the dashboard form was that it provided links that included the document ID of each item in each row, along with the full URL to open up this form in FormsViewer. And we can see here at the end of the URL, I've got the doc ID of this document. So I'm basically using get input parameter to get that value, and if it's specified, I'm using the swap DOM with document to retrieve that XML file from DBXL, load it into the main data source, and then I'm ready to continue working with the form. Now to switch over to another demo form, we've got this qRules form here that shows off some of the other qRules commands. So we've got the transform command, which is probably not one that most people use a lot. I happen to use it all the time because it's really useful. It allows you to convert XML into another structure using a language called XSLT. So what we're doing here is we're using the transform command to take data in one table, restructure it, and just copy it over to another table. And you can see that's running nice and quickly. You can also do the same thing but get the value as a string, and here we see that converted XML. Generate GUID, very useful command as well. This allows you to generate unique IDs, globally unique IDs. So I could just run the generate GUID command, and here in the result field we can see GUIDs showing up each time. And this provides 4 different formats. Basically there's D, which has dashes, N, which has no punctuation, B has braces and dashes, and P has parentheses and dashes. Basically, these are all GUIDs, and they're all generated using the algorithms built into .NET, so they should be nice and unique. We saw a get input parameter in that other form. I can sort of show you how it works here. We can see here up in this URL we've got a parameter called SP language. So if I put in SP language and hit the button, you can see I get ENUS, which is indeed the value. If I put in SP product number, and here I get the product number, which indeed matches as well. Insert, as I mentioned, allows you to add multiple rows to a table. So let's say I wanted to add 6 rows to this table all at once. I can just use that command, and there we've got 6 rows. And let's say I wanted to delete a row. That's where the delete command comes in. So I can just delete the second row. The delete command, and you can see that second row disappeared. The delete command allows you to specify which rows you want to delete using an XPath expression. So aside from just deleting rows by their number, you can delete them based on their contents, or delete all of them, which is what this button does here. Set case, another useful command. If you want to get the value of a field as uppercase or lowercase, you can basically use this command. Here it takes an XPath and either upper or lower as a parameter. So if I use that command here, it'll show me that value in uppercase. If I select lower, I get it in lowercase. And this works on both main data sources and secondary data sources. So again, rather useful. Now there's one more form I'd like to show you, and this is kind of exciting for us. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, we added three new commands to the main version of qRules, which allows it to communicate um, with web services that use JSON. InfoPath doesn't have built-in support for communicating with these sort of data sources, but we've added functionality that allows you to convert the XML in your data sources to JSON. Another command that allows you to send that JSON or any value to somewhere on the web and get the response, and then a third command that allows you to take JSON and convert it to XML in your data source, which in this case would allow you to convert that response back to XML and use it. Now, JSON is great because there are so many web services these days that use it. You can see here this form is communicating with Zendesk, but also Facebook, Twitter, Google Maps, all sorts of things use JSON nowadays, PayPal as well. So we think this is going to be really useful, and that's why even though it's a brand new command in the main version of qRules, we've already added it here in FormsViewer, so it's ready to go. So so this, as the title implies, allows me to submit a ticket to a Zendesk. And for those of you who don't know what Zendesk is, it's basically a way of keeping track of support tickets and things of that nature. So let's see. All right, I added a few values. I'll hit submit request here. It sends off the request, and moments later it gets the response back again and tells me that the ID is 10. And I've got Zendesk loaded up here in another browser tab, and if I look at it here, we can see I've got a brand new ticket submitted less than a minute ago with the title that I entered and the content that I entered. So yeah, that's really really exciting set of commands there, and we're looking to make use of them in the near future. So that was a demo of the new qRules functionality in FormsViewer. We've got a bit of a bonus topic. Perhaps some of you have taken advantage of the electronic signatures XTP that we provide on our web store. Electronic signatures allow you to basically sign a form and confirm your identity when you need to do an approval or sign for something or something of that nature. We had a requirement for a new approach to electronic signatures. We basically had a customer who had deliveries coming in, basically parts were being delivered, and they needed a way to sign for the parts on a tablet that the person delivering the parts needed, that the person delivering the parts was carrying. So this was not well suited for the electronic signature XTP that we provide, because it relies on SharePoint item level permissions and having the user logged into SharePoint and use a workflow to adjust the permissions. So this was not ideal in their case, because when a part is being delivered, you can't have them, the person receiving it, log into SharePoint on the tablet, make sure that they are themselves, and then sign for it. They needed a way to do this more quickly. So what we came up with was a hashing approach. So the way this works is each user in the system has a PIN number, and there's a PIN management form that allows them to set up what their PIN numbers are. And what we do is we perform a mathematical operation involving their PIN number and username, and this produces a new value that's actually stored in the list. So let me sort of show you what that looks like. So here we have a PIN lookup list, and we can see there are two users here, and there's a column called hash PIN. And what this is, it's not the actual PIN number, but it's rather the result of taking the username, combining it with the PIN that has been entered in, and that produces this number. So what's useful about this is that when somebody comes in with a form that needs to be signed, the person who's signing for it selects, indicates who they are, enters their PIN number, and this mathematical computation is performed within the form to make sure that the result in the form matches the value in the list, and if it does, they're good to go. And the way the hashing algorithm is set up so that it should be difficult to get the right hash number by entering in the wrong PIN number. Basically, the username and PIN combination should generally result in a unique hash. So we've got a management form here, and I'm going to open this up. All right, so I'm going to modify the James Risch PIN, and I think I remember what I entered in last time. I'll enter in a new one. Okay, and we can see the current hash number is 79424. I'll submit. Okay, we can see the hash number has changed, but it's quite different from the actual PIN value. Now, we've included this in our expense report demo form here. So I've changed my PIN number, so I'm going to reload this form. Okay, and so I'm going to approve this form. Of course, in real life, I wouldn't be approving my own expense reports, but this will do for the purposes of this demo. So here we've got a list of names queried from that PIN lookup list, and we can see that if I enter in a wrong PIN number and hit sign, it does the calculation and tells me no, the result is not correct. So that's not a correct PIN number. So I can enter as many wrong PIN numbers as I want, and it should tell me I'm wrong. But if I enter the right value and assign it, it accepts it, and I'm ready to either approve or decline the expense report. So I'll go ahead and approve it. So that's a nifty new technique. We have seen a bit of interest in in having an XTP that contains this functionality, so we are considering providing that sometime in the future. So keep posted for information about that. Okay, so yeah, here are some of the benefits of that approach. You don't have to have the user logged in order to sign the form. There's simple permissions, no workflow. It's easy to maintain the pins. It allows an admin to modify the pins rather than requiring the user to always modify their own. And the results are, as I said, they seem to be perfect in that means a wrong pin number should never yield a correct hash value, and we have verified this using a bunch of trials as well. Okay, so that's it for our presentation. Now there are 2 questions that we've received about the new FormsViewer and its functionality. The first one is, so I mentioned that FormsViewer is supported in SharePoint 2013. Does that require designing forms in InfoPath 2013, or can you use InfoPath 2010? The answer is yes, you can use InfoPath 2010. FormsViewer should be able to support forms designed in any version of InfoPath, be that 2003, 2007, 2010, or 2013. So you should be good to go with any of those. The other question is, do you have to use InfoPath Designer to create forms that work in FormsViewer? And the answer to this is currently yes. FormsViewer works with the InfoPath XSN file format. So currently the only way to create those is to use the InfoPath Designer. So you would need at least one InfoPath license in order to do that. And the good news here is, as I announced earlier, you can get InfoPath relatively cheap with you can get it included if you have an Office 365 subscription, $12 a month. So as long as each of your form designers have a copy of it, you're all set to be creating forms for the time being. We are planning to create a designer of our own that produces these InfoPath XSNs, but that's not something that's near on the horizon right now, so InfoPath Designer would be the way to do that for now. Okay, so that's it for this week's webinar. I'd like to thank you all again for watching, and hope you'll be back again next week. Bye for now.